Let's call this meeting to order. Harvest County Commission, July 1st, 9:03 a.m. Moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
I will move we accept the minutes read in the last meeting. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Correspondence. I have an estimate from Quality Independent Industries Asphalt Sealing. Clean and seal our asphalt parking lot out by the old jail after we get it patched up like we're supposed to have. $1,198.58. The only estimate I have so far. That's all correspondence I have. Or I know. Thank you. Okay, public comments. Where's the sheet at, please?
Long arm of the county court.
Thanks,
Right
Mike.
there.
Okay. Tammy Beamer is first one.
Before we start,
Oh, yeah.
I brought a new timer.
Okay, go ahead. Tammy Beamer, you're first one.
You might want to hold back on the timers because part of my stuff is your all's business.
Well, 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. How much money did the county commission, I think Beth will know this answer, carry over from last year to this year?
We don't have the definite numbers yet because they just finished up yesterday.
When will they come in?
It's when Martha can get the numbers cleaned up. It'll probably be this week sometime, maybe next.
Okay, what was the cost of DCA payroll for the month of June? No,
I have to look that up. I didn't think of it.
Okay, has the DCAA returned the county plates, and when will the commission auction mule chase car, or is that still in the works?
I haven't seen any plates. Have you? Anybody seen any license plates from the town store, Chase car? No, nobody's seen them.
Okay, has the new ambulance arrived yet?
I have no idea. You know anything about it?
It's scheduled for tomorrow, but they don't know that for sure.
Okay, has the commission already written the check, or are you going to do that today, or how does that work?
I did not attend any meetings. I don't know how it works.
I assume they would have to present an invoice.
To Beth, and then Beth will write the check? Okay, now, the county business.
What?
The county business.
County business.
This is just an FYI for you all. Last year, the county commission signed a lease with Intero, or a modification of lease with Intero in May. I've been working, and consolidating some information, and what I found by just stumbling onto it is that the county commission has 5 legs that are running from the Mary Brown Farm southeast. They're all wells that have been permitted with 1 leg that's producing, and it started producing in December. The 6th leg is running from Arnold's Creek northwest. And I'm going to let you pass the purple leg. You should be getting some pay on. I don't know if you are or not. Would wonder if the county commission would dedicate this money to infrastructure out of the park as like a permanent endowment. Whenever you've got getting the checks in, start making, saving it up for the park.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. Make sure I don't miss anybody like I did last time, sorry. Okay? Russell Callahan.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you sent a letter to 1 hour for about the electric rates and everything, what else?
I got your copy of that letter, Russell, and I gave it to the clerk to,
I have a letter.
huh?
I have a letter.
She has a letter that we're going to sign protesting that rate increase. I don't know what will happen with that, but we have a letter ready.
Okay.
Is that what you want to know?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Set one out, because even the courthouse electric.
Okay. Thank you, Russell.
Rates gonna be cool.
Mary Anna. Where's the microphone?
I don't know, but I don't really care.
Well, you need to
Uh-uh.
care.
Nobody else did.
I know, but that was my mistake. I wasn't paying
Okay,
attention.
first of all, if you're gonna set that, I would like to see it so that I can see how much time I have.
Sure.
Thank you. Oh, 20 minutes, thanks. I'm just kidding.
There you were.
Okay, one of the things, I was at Central Station on Saturday, and my heart goes out for those people living in that community. They're really getting slammed. The dust on the road, Antero has, I think, 2 or 3 road pads, plus EQT is working on the expansion of the Saturn compressor station. So this is a, quote, paved road, but the dust hazards on it are horrific. Then the other thing is the situation with the pipe in the floodplain that EQT is using. They're using this field to store components for the Saturn site. And people keep calling it a compressor station. It's not a compressor station, it's an extraction plant that's being built in the floodplain that I believe Mr. Wellings passed a floodplain permit for it last year, okay? But, I mean, somebody needs to do something. If they're being allowed to store pipe in that field without a floodplain permit, I don't understand why a stop work order hasn't been issued. The floodplain permit has not been approved. The last time flooding occurred there, I mean, it was pretty evident that that field was flooded. So let them, EQT knows better. They've been through this rodeo with the floodplain permits before, and it just seems to me that they're taking advantage of people living in the community when they think that those folks might not say anything. And there's 2 other sites. There's another site closer to the 1-lane bridge that's by the rails to trails. I mean, that's a situation also. I don't believe they have a floodplain permit, but they've put fill or gravel and stuff in there directly down the hill from where they're putting in a pipeline. So if we have stuff that's going on in floodplain areas that shouldn't be going on, then I feel, because of the process that we have in place with our floodplain ordinance, then a stop work order needs to be slammed on these people because they just continue doing what they want to do. So I'd like to see some enforcement, because without that, that ordinance is worthless. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk to Mr. Riston as soon as he comes back
Well,
on.
I mentioned it to him. He said he was going to go out and look at it, but he's looked at it already several times. I think, Ralph, you've looked at it. I think Pat has looked at it. The only thing that has occurred, they have moved some of the equipment or some of the machinery that's supposed to go onto the Saturn site. It's moved up closer to the road, which may not be in the floodplain, but the pipe is still in the floodplain, and they're looking at affecting something like 3 to 4 acres. Okay, so, I mean, we need quicker action on some of this stuff before somebody gets hurt.
Pat, is that where Mr. Ross' property is? Is that what she's talking about?
Equals.
Close?
I think it's Neely property.
Neely property, and part of it's on one side of the rail trail, part of it's on the other side of the rail trail.
All right, okay.
But there's 2 streams converge there, so both sides is affected.
Okay, I know exactly where you're talking about. Okay. Thank you, Mariana.
You're welcome.
I see nobody else signed up to speak. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Greg, you want to go first? Sure. Yeah, your turn.
I don't have anything.
Doesn't have anything, Greg?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Last meeting, I made the suggestion that we move public comment to the end of the meeting. That met with some opposition. I contacted John Sorrenti, I think it's his name, Sorrenti. He is pretty much respected in the state as an expert on Robert's Rules of Order. I related the situation to him. He concurred that it should be at the beginning of the meeting. And he cited the same arguments basically that Mariana did. However, he did say, and I think this can be a reasonable compromise to both sides of the issue. He said you can set a time limit on the total amount of public comment. And he said that many county commissions set a time limit of a half an hour. So that would then allow us to be able to tell people, if you're first on the agenda, you can probably be here at 9:45, and if you don't want to sit through public comment. And so he indicated that he had been a county commissioner for 18 years, I believe, and he was involved in a table games gambling issue, and so there were lots of negative public comments, and so he's familiar with it. But he said you can set a time limit in total, and then it would be, if there were 10 people signed up to speak, then they would get 3 minutes each. If there were 5 people, they would still get the 5 minutes. If there were several with the same opinion, they could say, okay, let's let this person speak for our group, or these 6 people speak for our group, or whatever, however they would decide. But it could be determined by the audience, I guess you could say. And if nobody wanted to give up their time, then it would be the number of 30 minutes divided by the number of speakers. And so it's not on our agenda, so I am asking that be placed on the agenda for the next meeting, for us to vote on accepting that.
It'll be 30 minutes total.
30 minutes total time, and then then the number of speakers will determine the length of each person's time. So that's what I'd like to.
Mr. Sandor, may I ask Mr. Robson a question?
We see if he's done.
I'm done.
Did he mention anything about if you schedule a person for 10 o'clock in the morning, that everything ceases until that person's comment or business is taken care of?
He didn't mention that, no. We didn't.
Well,
discuss
that there is another way around this, is that if you schedule like Pat at 9 a.m., then you have to see him at 9 a.m. because that's the way it's set with Robert's rules. So you might want to discuss that with him, give him a call back and ask about that, rather than to limit people.
Well, I've made my comments on what I would like to see and the motion that I will make next meeting.
Okay. Pat, OES Director report.
See, right now, we're gonna have to do something with that buzzer. Frank's gonna have too much fun with it.
Is that him with the buzzer?
Which is,
Yeah.
Yeah, the buzzer will get together one of these days. Okay. Quiet month. We gained a little bit on the rain this month, not much, but we're still going back to the plus figures. Middle Island Creek's a little bit above normal summer pool. If you'll notice a couple happenings down at on June 24th, I was contacted by Dwayne Woodward. Is his name?
Woods.
Woods.
What? Who
Rain
is?
gauges.
Oh, Dwayne. No, Wayne Woods.
Okay, I couldn't hear him on. He called me while I was on vacation. Anyway, to tell me that we're getting 3 rain gauges back. At one time we had 8 in the county, and they went by the way. They just went by the way. I'm not going any further than that. But anyway, they're coming back, and he wanted to get with us on placement. I suggested the 2 watersheds, the 2 main watersheds, and then the third one maybe on the South Hughes River, that area out in there. We don't get much flooding if the Buckeye area and the Meat House Fork area both get rain, is where we get our flooding from. That'll be real good. They'll be accessible by computer. Anybody can access them. They'll be, I don't have all the particulars yet. He was going to get back to me about it, and my email's down, so I've not got anything yet. Frontier's doing its best to repair it, they've told me. I don't know if that's going to happen soon or not. We've had 11 transportation accidents this month, and we hauled water twice for sanitary purposes. The 4-H camp was down for 3 days. The wells went down out there, and we stationed a water truck out there and a pump to flush toilets, and we hauled up to the Bible camp on Morgan's Run and worked a deal out with one of the oil companies, and they're going to fill their sanitary use cisterns up there for flushing toilets. A lot of wells dying natural deaths right now because of overuse. I really, when I talked to Mike last week, when I was on, I tried to get a hold of, see what the water table was, and I could not access that site from where I was at, and I don't know if the water table's up or down right now. I've been monitoring rainfall, but I would say with the number of wells that people are having problems with, our water table is probably low. And that is readily accessible. Name just went on my head. From out at Summers out there.
James Foster.
Jim Foster had put me onto a site a couple years ago where I could access the water tables for the county. It's on the one of the national sites, and you could zoom in and by zip code and I couldn't get back on that site. We have an LEPC meeting coming up on the 17th, 7 o'clock, Fairview, and we'll probably review the emergency guide, and from there, after each one of the outfits, each one of the organizations, the departments, for lack of a better term, I guess, okay their area, then we'll go to print and that'll all be done. So that's it. It's been pretty quiet, I hope. I was going for a week and they didn't have to do anything major, so they didn't miss me at all. So.
At our last meeting, we talked about trying to stop the pumping water out of our streams.
I talked to Noel is his name, from EQT. Can't think of his first name, Cecil. Anyway, he told me that they had withdrawn their pumps, their company had withdrawn pumps, and they were under the impression that all the pumps in the county were either shut down or withdrawn.
No.
EQT pumps.
Now, EQT, whether or not they had pumps, EQT, right down here right across from Rock Run.
They're pumping water, but they're not, the pump stations that they had set up. They had one at Tonkin Station, they had one at Blandville, they had one at Arnold's Creek, they had one at, he named 6 or 7. They pulled theirs. And he said that he didn't know of anybody that was pumping water except Noble. And I contacted the guy from Noble, and Noble said that he wasn't there. He's on vacation. I left him a message asking him to get back to me.
But
I know 7 stations has been pulled.
do you know where the Noble one is located?
Don't know. I don't know that for sure until Noble, EQT put a 20,000 gallon impoundment, 20 million gallon impoundment right to Mouth Arnold's Creek there, right above the brick church on that point, and they've got about 2.5 foot of water in it, and they've abandoned it. I guess they're not doing any more work on it, so I don't know that they're not working to fill it or do anything with
Well,
it.
they're using the impoundment that's on Brush Run.
There's 3 impoundments south in the county. Henner's has 1 or 2. I'm not sure. I've got a map with those impoundments on it, but those are Antera's impoundments.
Well, the one, EQT has one on Brush Run, and I know from talking to one of the residents there, they're having trucks coming in and out on a constant basis, even though they finished drilling the well, but the EQT there, the water trucks are accessing, it's constant.
2 of the companies have sent me notices that they're no longer maintaining sump pits on site. And what they're doing is all the drill product, they're calling it product, mud, as it's comes up out of the well, they're filling it in these container trucks and it's being transported out of the county on these rollbacks. And I didn't realize, it didn't dawn on me, I sat and reading all this stuff and it just didn't click on me until I saw on the news where that container truck had been turned away up at Quartzburg because it was radioactive. And but they're not maintaining as they drill, they fill the container, they take it off site.
So they're not putting the frac ponds in.
Well, they're still got a water pond, but there's no, used to be they filled that big pit, let it evaporate out, and then remove the stuff out as it comes out. Now it's going out the road. And it's mostly Waste Management's the big one. To give you an illustration of traffic, this morning I got up a little early and went to leave the haul out there, and I had to wait on 68 trucks to get out of the haul. And 40 some of them were stone trucks. Somebody's making money on this deal, and it ain't me. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Did they say why the wells went down at the county park?
I don't know. There was some, no, I don't know. They said the wells were in function. When I was out there, there were some daggers flying from Zona towards Gin. And I really didn't want to get cut up in that. Of crossfire there. But we took the truck out and left it till Wednesday, and they flushed their toilets and stuff with it. The kids swam in the pool, and it may do, but they had one well that was adequate for drinking water and stuff. But as far as the other wells, I don't have any idea.
Okay.
They just asked me for help, and I took it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
I think that I heard that it was a pump, but I'm not
Well-
certain about that.
They pulled the pump 3 times, and they thought they had it working, and they, of course, got muddy water when you pull the pump. They just let the water settle out and everything, and went back and it wouldn't work again. I guess that happened 2 or 3 times. They didn't know if it was switches or, but we left the tanker set out there for them, so we filled it once, so they have water. Kids don't need much water, so.
Okay, item B, Hope Incorporated funding request. We have a funding request for Hope Incorporated. They need to make a facility renovation project. They're asking for $1,000. And they have never requested any money in the past from the commission. It's a private nonprofit United Way agency. Offers shelter and confidential supportive services to victims of sexual assault and domestic violence and their families in Marion, Harrison, Douglas, Gilmer, and Lewis counties. Professional staff and trained advocates to provide information, make referrals, discuss alternatives, and provide emotional support. Hope offers the following services: 24-hour hotline, emergency shelter, support services, professional counseling, community education, children's programs, volunteer opportunities. I'll move that we give them their $1,000 request from the commission. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Item C, confirm bank depository.
We took those down to Cornerstone and Western Union Bank after Reddit's last meeting, and all we've gotten back is Western Union Bank. Cornerstone seems to be slow. It's pledged for $3 million. That's to cover what we would have in the bank at any one time.
Okay. I'm on that motion.
Yes, sign and
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made to confirm bank depository. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried.
you have to sign the order.
Item D, Fair Board donation.
Was this the $2,000 last time that wasn't on the agenda? Or was that previous?
But we approved that $2,000 in the previous meeting.
Thought we did too.
I didn't see it.
I know we did. Almost positive we did.
Sent them the money. Have you sent them the money?
We just added it to their request.
It would be for this fiscal year.
Yeah,
Okay, it's for the fair,
yeah.
you need to release that. You put it on this year's budget, but you need to release it, because the rest of them won't release until September, probably, or,
Oh, okay.
and
Gotcha, gotcha.
they're gonna need it before then.
Okay, okay. All right, well, I move that we release their $2,000 as soon as possible, immediately. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. That's all you wanted was 2,000, right? Or did you want all of them?
But we just, I don't know how much it is, I don't have it with me.
Okay, well,
Look it to me.
let me read,
I don't know how much you would cost the fair.
okay, let me rescind that motion, please. Okay. I will move that we give the fair board their donation, I forget the exact amount, as soon as possible or immediately, so they don't have to wait, because the fair will be coming up in August and they need their money as soon as possible. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Resignation of DCAA board member. That would be Gary Talkington, is that right?
Talking to me, yes.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion for Gary Coppington's resignation.
Okay, motion's been made to accept Gary Talkington's resignation from DCAA board member. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Motion's carried. Item F, K-9 budget, unit budget. K-9 unit budget. We have that. We have that.
There's one thing on there, the concrete platforms and upgrading the vehicles. You had moved money last year to take care of that, but they haven't got the process done, so we're kind of moving that again for this year.
Okay.
Since that just rolled over to the general fund year ended.
Total of $21,166.54, is that correct? No. No. Okay,
$40,925.
all right, that's, okay. That's for everything. All right, I was reading part of it, sorry. Okay.
Does that include the cost of the dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much was it?
It doesn't include the cost of the dollars now.
Oh, no, we've
He's
already,
got that in
we've
his
already
budget.
done that for dollars. Okay. I have one question about this. What is professional services? What, I don't understand that.
If they have to get into the bed.
Okay, all right. Okay, I understand. Now, the deputies, according to this, the deputies are going to be working some overtime. That's
An hour a
understandable.
day.
You what?
An hour a day.
Okay, that's understandable. Okay. Okay. All right. Move that we approve this K-9 unit budget, $40,925. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item G, appointment of member to library board.
Received a letter from the Goodrich County Library Board requesting that we reappoint Tina Tanner to the library board retroactive to June 30th, 2014. The term will expire June 30th, 2018.
Okay. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Motion's been made. We appoint Tina Towner to the library board. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Item H, vaccination rabies clinic. Have we found anybody that's interested in doing it?
You have to check for a vet. Who was it that last time?
Sliker did it.
Who was it?
Was it Sliker?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he did it the last couple of times it was done. Dr. Ford's never wanted to do it, but the county's responsible for having somebody.
So have we contacted Mr. Parker yet?
I
Are you
don't,
saying he doesn't want to do it this year?
I don't know.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
so you need a motion for,
I just need you all to contact somebody about having it done.
okay. So who's responsible for this? Us personally have to contact somebody on the
Commission's
commission?
always done it.
Okay. Okay. Shirley, would you like to do that?
Sure.
Okay. We need a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay. Shirley, you will contact somebody to take care of vaccination. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Item I, setting date and time of appeal board hearing. I spoke with Mr. Tennant, our attorney, and he recommended on the 15th, that would be our regular meeting day in the evening. The hearing would be at 4 p.m. And after that, our regular meeting is scheduled at 6 p.m. And Bo, did you say something earlier about that's not a good date for Mark West, or was I just hearing that?
No, they had requested that the date be changed, but it's already been established by the Commission and Mr. Tennant, so I would recommend we go ahead and maintain.
All right. Well, I will move that the date has been set for 4 p.m. on the 15th of July for the hearing date. I move that we have that appeals board hearing on that day and that time. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item J, vending machines. Is there somebody here to talk about that? Is there a representative here?
No. I have a booklet. David Spano was going to be here today, but they have a sick child and Amy had to work, so he had to stay home with the little girl. But have you all looked at this?
Yeah, I'm looking for that price sheet. Is it in that book? Oh, you have it. Okay.
They will take care of the machines, maintain machines. They're the ones that do out of the jail. They are at the jail 3 times a week.
Okay.
I guess the gentleman told David in the beginning they would be here twice a week to check to see how things were moving, how it's going along. But at any time, if something runs out or something goes wrong or whatever, we call them and they'll be right here to take care of it. And it's no cost to the commission. He did say that one of the machines will not go through the basement door.
I heard that's what David told me. Both the machines will have to be up here in the hallway. Now they can't get them through the basement door. So they want to put in a cold beverage machine and a snack machine. And I'll just read you the prices Bottle of soft drinks, 20 ounces are $1.35. Bottle of water, 20 ounces, $1.25. Bottle of juice, 16 ounces, $1.60. Candy, $1. Crackers, 80. Gum and mints, 65. Snacks, large single, serve size, 85. Pastries, homemade cookies, $1. Green Hostess pastries, $1.25. Okay. Now, as you know, we removed our machines from the courthouse. They were getting old antiques, having lots of problems, and anyway, we decided that we would try to have a vending company come in here and take care of them, and in the past we've had problems with who wants to take care of them, and everybody's busy and they can't take care of them, and I don't understand all that. So, I will move that we accept the vending machines, ABI. I move that we accept their proposal. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion is carried. We have one other item, almost forgot, I'm sorry. Mariana, it seems that you got missed on the agenda, but you are added on, and it's time for you to come up and talk to us.
Okay, this is in reference to the water testing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of confused last time. I thought you guys had agreed to do downstream strategies. I did get 2 additional estimates. One of them was way above downstreams and the other one was way below, but they didn't test for all the parameters. I had downstream strategies sent me an invoice that explains everything, that I don't think at the last meeting you guys voted or did a motion on it. So basically it was to do the comprehensive testing that covers everything. They needed an $800 deposit that was off the $1,750. And that covered a ton of stuff. That was pretty much geared towards potential chemical pollution, et cetera, or stuff related to Marcellus shale drilling. So, and I gave you the letter of their scope, the scope of work last, and this includes explaining the test results, doing the sampling, the whole bit.
Where will
The sample be taken upstream from the water intake for the municipal water plant.
how far upstream?
Probably not very far. I haven't determined that. I'll check with them what they see is the best thing.
Now, when we discussed this initially, it seemed to me, I may be.
Well, actually, if you guys, I mean, you're going to need that if you're going to pay.
I may have misunderstood, but it seemed like there was many more tests that.
Well, I was recommending, what I was recommending is not just doing one test. I was recommending that this be done like maybe once every 3 months. All right? Because things change. And there's more and more activity occurring. So at any point in time that a water sample is taken, it only captures that point in time. Okay?
Yes, but what I understood that from the last time. You had said 4 times a year, which would have been about $6,800.
It was around 7,000.
Yeah, right. But what I seem to recall was that you were talking about a lot of other testing also. Now, what I need for you to tell me is this the testing that you're looking for, or is this the first step in the testing that you're looking for?
This is the testing that I'm looking for the water, okay? I think the other thing that we definitely need in the county is related to air quality, all right? I noticed, I mean, especially after, I believe it was the last meeting or perhaps the meeting before, when Mr. Long and Mrs. Price stood up and spoke about the air monitoring devices that they have, and they're about half a mile directly over the hill from the Northwest plant, that was definitely elevated. Now, I think it would be fantastic if Mark West could provide some air quality monitoring stuff to go along with the picnic table or pavilion they set up at the elementary and grade school. Because air quality monitoring is not happening in this county. And the DEP, with all of the massive compressor stations that are being put in the county, as well as the fact that we now have 2 extraction plants, a cryogenics plant, and all of the well pads. The DEP does not aggregate all of those sites, they look at them individually. So I think air quality, that would be my next step to ask for. But right now, this is just strictly water.
Well, as to your comments about no air quality monitors, maybe I'm unaware, but there's test results published in the paper all the time in the legal sections for air quality.
No, those
No,
are not. Those are not test results. What those are, they're permit applications by the companies requesting an air quality permit. And what you see there is what the companies are asking for to be permitted by the Air Quality Division of the West Virginia DEP. So when you see a well pad saying they're going to be releasing 2 tons per year of something like benzene, toluene, or the VOX, those are permits. Those are not test results. Those are the companies asking the DEP to allow them to spew these pollutants into our air. So they don't. So if you've got a situation where you have several well pads in a close area and they're up on the ridges, each one of those well pads has an air quality permit that is done individually. They don't look at the 4 or 5. They're looked at individually. They don't clump them all together. Right now in the county, I'm not sure how many compressor stations we have. I know that the area that I live in, I know there's one that's functioning. There are 2 that are functioning, I think 2 additional ones that are planned, and I live off of Big Flint. They plan on putting a compressor site, I think something like every 7 miles, because the gas is so heavy and they need to push it through. You're looking at pipelines coming from these well pads that are huge. And we are at risk for the air quality stuff. And you know, like I said, if you read those legal ads, they pretty much say it's requesting a permit application, and they place the legal ads to allow the public to comment or to ask for a public meeting, which is what we did for the Canton North compressor station on Route 23. Okay, that gives the community an opportunity to question before the permit is issued. And actually, nobody has gotten a response on the Canton North issue, because any question that was asked, the DEP is supposed to send us a written answer to the questions that were asked. No one's gotten anything back from them yet. So I'm assuming they have not issued the permit yet.
Well, I have a question. I don't understand this permit procedure. They went over there and done all the work for that site.
Well,
And you're saying they don't have a permit?
they don't have an air quality permit. Now, in that situation with the Canton North, any of the compressor sites that you are seeing being built in the county, I'm fairly 99% sure somebody has sold the property to that company. That situation, Antero bought that whole farm.
Yes.
So it's their farm. They can do all of the pre-construction work that they want. They can bring in the engines, they can do everything, and they can test, but they cannot operate until they have those permits. So,
I have another comment. You referred to the Mr. Long's test results that he presented us with. I reviewed those, and what it said was that a person who was that had asthma or similar related issues, that indeed there were a couple of times on that that it indicated that they should stay inside. My comment is this, well, two things. Number one, we don't have anything to compare that to in previous times prior to Mark West. And number two, this is just from life experience. How many times in the last 5 years have you heard from weather reporters that if you have asthma or similar ailment, you should stay inside, and it's just because of pollen? So, my point is, we need to check out all reports that are made. It may be that yes, there are other things involved now, and it may be that this is just nature. So, we can't take something, at least I can't take something that somebody just says without.
well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And actually, in something I read this morning, there was an article in Forbes magazine that was actually talking about this monitoring device that was placed at Mr. Long's home. And that device was there for 30 days, okay? It was there for 30 days. There are, I forget the name of the university and the scientists that are reviewing this data. There is, and I'll forward you the article that was in Forbes magazine, all of you. I don't think I have your email address, Shirley, but I'll be happy to share this with all of you. And it specifically talked about this particular monitor, the scientists and the science that's behind it, okay? And the company that did it and how the information is viewed. So yeah, I agree with you. I do not typically take something at face value unless I research it. So, but you can't equate pollen to chemical pollution. And the particulars that this monitor, it's rather odd that it spiked between 11 at night and 5 in the morning, which is when pretty much you have a heavier moisture content in the air that will push stuff down. And with the area that we live in, with our hollows and stuff, it pushes it down, but it doesn't just push it down on the ground, it's pushing it down into our water and other, it's all really highly connected. And yeah, Greg, I've heard, pollen counts, etc., but we've got something more than pollen counts going on here. But anyway, can we get back to the water testing to see if you guys are going to approve this so we can move forward on this?
My comment is, I don't have any problem with this water testing. And I guess the real solution is, anytime that you want additional testing, you will have to come to the county commission. And what I don't want to see, quite frankly, is a piece by piece. If you recall, we had somebody, I can't remember who exactly it was, that gave us an estimate or an opinion on what it would do, what it would cost for a full air quality, and it was over $1 million. And you can be asked to approve $1 million at one time, or you can be asked to approve $1 million in smaller increments, and then when you stop and you think, okay, we've got $1 million into this now. So that's what I'm,
Right,
That's what I'm
I
doing.
understand, but with the air stuff, I mean, if you really wanted to pursue that, the other alternative is contacting Dr. McCauley up at WVU. He did the air quality stuff for the West Virginia DEP several years ago. And they have the portable equipment that can do all this. And as our university, you know, it's possible that if they were contacted and asked to come down, that, you know, it's an option. I mean, I'm not into spending $1 million. I mean, I'm about as tight as they come, you know, I like to get mileage for my buck. Tammy?
West Virginia DEP at the hearing that they had down at the senior citizens said that there are no air quality monitors in this area. They're only in big cities because they can't afford to put them out where the action's happening.
Yeah, they're in the urban area, I think Wheeling, Charleston. I don't know if there was
And
one in
9.
Morgantown, I can't remember, but they were in the urban areas. Right, and most of them were in the higher populated. So when you look at Doddridge County, 8,200 people, but right now, as far as industrialization goes, we are probably one of the more active counties in the state. So we're going to have a motion to approve this, or?
One thing, I would just like to caution the commission on this. We dug into the organization that did the air testing for Mr. Long, and they are a strict anti-gas, anti-fracking air quality testing organization. They're funded by the Heinz Endowment, which gave over, I think, $72 million over the course of the last 10 years to stop fracking and things like that. So they're a very militant group. I like the idea of WVU getting involved. I think they have an excellent gas, oil, and air quality program up there. But I would just caution the commission to not just take everything on face value.
I personally, Mr. Zorn, everybody has their opinions. I thought the mere fact that these devices were brought into this county at absolutely no cost to county residents, when no one else has been offering any assistance. And my attitude is, whatever the test results are, and if you have universities that are looking at this stuff where their funding might be coming from, I don't care as long as we're getting help.
I think
But
they
you're
look at
right.
their agenda.
Well,
I think
my
you have to look at
agenda,
their agenda.
okay, my agenda is to try to help the people in this
And
county.
I agree.
So, you know, and I think that's where people in this county need to mobilize instead of.
I did have one other question for you, and I think this is, if these gas companies are putting this in the legal ads, the amounts that they're saying they're going to disperse into the air, don't they have some way of testing to know what they're putting in the air, or are they just putting the stuff out
Why
there?
don't you approach them and ask them to share results with you?
Okay.
Okay? You know, why don't you approach Mark West? Because what happens, they might be doing monitoring, but what happens pretty much is, it's the cops watching the hen house, okay? Whether or not they choose to share that information with the public is a whole different story. So you, in your reporter situation, perhaps they'll share it with you, and perhaps you can share it with the rest of us. You know? So, back to the water. Can we get back to that? I'm sorry. I mean, I'll be happy to answer any questions, or if you want to talk to me, I'll be happy to answer anything. My agenda, personal agenda, is to help the people in this county. That's it.
Okay. You got anything to comment on, Shirley, before we go? Greg, anything else?
No, nothing more.
Okay. I will, I'll make a motion that we pursue the water testing. And the commission will get the invoice and take care of it. There'll be no third parties involved, okay? And you want to do it for 1 full year, is that what I understood?
I don't have a problem with that.
Is that what I understood, 1 year?
I think it would be really good to do that.
Okay,
that we're starting with that, so if we're gonna do it for 1 full year, well, I'll set up a sampling schedule with them, and I'll give you all the information. What I'd like to do is contact them and tell them, I don't know when, Beth, you can send them the $800 that they need to start.
If they approve it today, I'm going to send it.
Okay, so I will contact the lady I've been dealing with and set up an appointment with her for probably sometime early next week. Okay, and I'll keep you guys informed. Thank you very much.
Did you vote?
You didn't vote?
We haven't voted yet. Okay. I don't know if I made the motion clear enough, did I? Okay, all
To
right.
me, anyway.
Okay, clear. All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
Well,
And I'm sure the people in the community thank you also.
okay, that conducts,
Hold on, for the
Floodplains.
time permits.
that conducts all of our business with the exception of our invoices.
What about the floodplain stuff?
Sorry, floodplain permit. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Bo? You're up. Thanks, Tammy.
Am I using the mic here? Okay, well, for floodplain permits right now, we haven't approved anything since the last county commission meeting. There will be some that are approved today that actually are not in the floodplain itself, and so we actually have no regulatory authority to not approve them, or actually to approve them, but we're going through the process anyway. So for the week of June 26, 2014, to be announced July 1st, 2014, also to be published today, right, Tammy? They'll be published today. So we have permit applications number 14-224 to 14-231. 14-224, everybody has the handouts, hopefully. There's additionals up here if you need them. A little different format now. 14-224 is from Mark West Liberty Sherwood Gas Processing Plant. It's a 138 volt phase 2 project for aerial lines. It's located in the Grant District at the Sherwood Processing Facility. It's aerial transmission lines. The aerial lines will cross the floodplain, but no construction work for the support towers, etc. will occur in the actual floodplain. So we have no regulatory authority for the floodplain ordinance. So that one will be approved today and given the green light. 14-225 was for Antero for Melody Pipeline. That is entirely out of the floodplain, located in the Grant District at Knights Fork and Camp Mistake. That was received June 4th, announced July 1st. Again, we have no regulatory authority to say yay or nay on that one. 14-226, Antero Webb Lateral Pipeline. It is also entirely out of the floodplain. It's located in Central District near the James Webb Well Pad off County Route 21/1. 14-227, that's the Antero Spiker Freshwater Impoundment. That again is entirely out of the floodplain, location in the New Milton District. We have 14-228 for the Antero Nichols Pipeline, again entirely out of the floodplain. It is location in the Central District at the Nichols Compressor Pad area. 14-229, that's for Crestwood Marcellus Midstream. As a Victor and Brooks Pipeline, location in the Greenbrier District, the Victor Well Pad and Brooks Well Pad areas, connecting those two pads together. That was received June 16th, announced July 1st. Anticipated publication date is July 1st. The 20-day comment period window is dated from the commission meeting today and will expire July 21st. 90-day approval window from the date of receipt submitted will be September 14th, 2014. The project description is a pipeline, 6,626 linear feet in length. Of that, 550 linear feet of pipeline plus 210 linear feet of access road construction will happen within the floodplain. So we're in the process of reviewing that one. No decision has been made on that, and will not be made until after the July 21st 20-day comment period. That would be the soonest that action will be taken on that one. 14-230, also for Crestwood Marcellus Midstream, and that is the Snake Run Pipeline located in the New Milton District at approximately 4850 Meat House Court, and is located at the Snake Run Well Pad. That was received June the 18th, announced July 1st, anticipated publication date July 1st, 20-day comment period window from the commission meeting July 21st, 90-day approval window from date of receipt September 16th, and the project description is a pipeline of which 1,194 linear feet in length, 120 linear feet of impact to the floodplain for that project. And again, no approval will be given on that project until after July 21st, the expiration of the 20-day comment period. The last one that we have is 14-231, Crestwood Marcellus Midstream. That is the Big Isaac Pipeline. That one is also entirely out of the floodplain, located in the Greenbrier District, near the Big Isaac and John North Well Pad. And again, that one's outside of the floodplain, so we have no regulatory authority over that. So out of 8 total, there were 2 in floodplain, 5 entirely out, 1 that has aerial lines crossing the floodplain, but since there's no construction or impact to the actual floodplain itself, we have no regulatory authority over that. So that's my complete report for today.
I have a question.
Yes.
I asked a while back to revise the floodplain permit
Yes.
and start charging a fee for anything that's out of the floodplain. Have we done anything with that?
It's in the process. The actual the ordinance will have to be changed for that. We'll have to come up with something because it doesn't. If it's outside the floodplain, we have no regulatory authority. So that's going to have to be a separate county ordinance to be able to do permit fees for development outside of the floodplain. Additionally, we are in the process of redoing the application process itself. But again, that only impacts those developments that are inside the floodplain.
Okay, so do I have to contact Mr. Tennant to work on this floodplain? Or the work that's out of the floodplain? We receive no income whatsoever. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay, I thought it was.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm thinking that we need to receive some kind of income because the county's we have something invested in it. We have time invested. We have things invested. We should recuperate some of our money.
Right. The other issue with this is that the ones that I listed here that are entirely out of the floodplain, the companies are providing this to us basically as a courtesy. They're not required to by law to even tell us about these projects. Okay. From my understanding, I don't see any county ordinance or regulation that states that if it's outside the floodplain, they have to tell the county what's going on. This is good information data to have. That's why we're going through the actual process of giving permit application numbers to them and going through the process. That way the public's aware of the development that's going on. I think that for transparency purposes is entirely reasonable and good. As far as, actually keeping track of the development, yes, I think that we definitely need something that's good for the assessor's office as well to keep track of any type of developments and things for tax purposes. So,
Okay. Yes, Dan.
Doesn't the ordinance say that any type of improvements over $1,000 that you have to?
within the floodplain. I have no authority outside the floodplain. If somebody's doing something up on top of a mountaintop, if it doesn't impact the floodplain, I have no authority at all.
Don't we have building permits?
No, that goes
No.
with the flood. Always before it was not part of within the floodplain. That must be
The
something.
FEMA
with-
floodplain ordinance deals only with floodplain, development within a floodplain, a designated floodplain. If it's outside of a designated floodplain, that ordinance has absolutely no bearing whatsoever.
And that's by our ordinance.
That's national.
No, I
But
mean
yes,
by
by our
our.
ordinance, yes.
I was thinking that years ago, there was if you want to call it an ordinance passed in the county that if there was anything over $1,000,
Yeah.
it didn't apply necessarily to the floodplain, but anything over $1,000, you actually had to get a permit. And I think the purpose was so that the assessor would be aware.
That's something that needs to be discussed with the assessor's office. I don't have any visibility on that.
Right.
I know the assessor's office was, when this entire floodplain ordinance came about, because we've talked about this a little bit, there was a question as to what was to be continued and what was to be deleted and things of that nature. That issue needs cleared up. Because honestly, anything outside the floodplain, it's not in floodplain. We have no regulatory authority.
Right.
It also seems to me, like I recall somebody saying that to really enforce that, you had to have a building permission. Now, I mean, I've heard that somewhere. Now, whether or not that applies or not, I don't know.
I have no
But
visibility.
that may be something that we need to look at.
If no other questions, that's all I have.
Thank you, Butcher.
Okay, that does conduct all our business, except our invoices, and we're taking a 10-minute break.
Budget revisions? Are there any budget revisions?
Any budget revisions?
Yes, there's one to move some money for a grant, the radios for the law enforcement vehicle. There's not money in the budget where it should be, so we're moving money there, and we're moving money for the K-9 unit, that budget, instead of that budget. That's the only thing.
Yes.
I was going to stop by and call for what's the
Could you?
No, you. Okay. 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 Come on, Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get that too.
Well, I'll make a copy of it.
You got a letter. Hey, Russell, you got a letter ready to sign and send off.
Okay. You don't need another one?
No. All right.
Yeah, that's great for that small business, well, really. This is. Yeah, I like to go to my things. The business.